out that internal stuff. So actually I was writing the book, finishing the book from Ohio on a sabbatical. Dawn was working from Glenella, and we had Google Docs up in front of us, so we both had the document in front of us, and where she's challenging me on different questions, and it was just wonderful. And so that's one reason why I really felt it was appropriate to have Dawn on the front cover, because it was her, questions and just kind of drawing out that internal stuff. So I just wanted to thank Dawn, even though she is not here. The other person I want to thank is Brian Bakke. He's a really short young gentleman that's hard to miss. Oh, sorry, no, he's really tall. Right there, Brian. Brian is a good friend of mine and a good friend of many of us. He lived in Uptown, Chicago, which I always describe our neighborhood as one of the better bad neighborhoods in Chicago. It's not Woodlawn, which is a really bad neighborhood. But it has its crusty side. And Brian and I had a wonderful time running down Kenmore Avenue in Leland after he was like 14 or something, and a 14-year-old with a gun, and that was shooting a gun in the air. And Brian and I don't know what we were doing, all of a sudden Brian says, "We gotta chase that guy." So he and I are chasing after this kid with this weapon, and the kid, I think, thought that we were cops, because he just had this terrified look on his face, and then it worked out fine. Never mind. We're still here. So Brian traded down, and recently, several years ago, 7 years ago or so, moved to Washington, D.C., another one of those better bad neighborhoods. But he and his wife, Lisa, are just really good friends, and he is a very accomplished artist, and so his artwork graces the chapter of each book. And if you have time today, I really want to encourage you to come over and see the descriptions of his artwork along the back wall, talk with him about some of the meanings behind the artwork, and it is just a very, very gifted thing. So I wanted to read an excerpt. The other thing I want to do is just also thank our staff and our volunteers who are here. We have a lot of people who have served as a volunteer or our staff at Emmaus. Raise your hand. Quite a few of us here. Come on. Like we have shy volunteers. Come on, Liz, get your hand up. I think you were a volunteer. There we go. So some wonderful folks, and that's one of the great things about this ministry is it's not done by one person, and even though he has a wonderful wife alongside it, it's a community effort with so many different people that have supported us and prayed for us, sacrificially given, and we have a phenomenal staff at Emmaus and a phenomenal group of volunteers, and I'm just very thankful for all of their help. And especially I'd like to encourage you to meet our executive director, Jonathan Hancock. Wave, Jonathan. Jonathan's one of those guys that doesn't like a moment like this, so everybody stare at him. Everybody stares at him. Jonathan is one of our founding board members and has just been a tremendous asset to the ministry, and stepped into the position of executive director when Carolyn and I moved to Ohio, which is where we live now, in inner city Silver Lake, as I like to describe it. For those of you who have been there, it has this wonderful 100-acre lake. And I have to be honest with you here. I was finishing this book about a year ago, June. We moved to Ohio to be with my parents. My dad passed away a few months after we arrived. My mom has Alzheimer's now, and we are on that challenging journey. But where I grew up is a very different place from Uptown, and we have a 100-acre lake, about 400 homes around it, a big old yard. It's a very comfortable, beautiful area. And so last June, I'm finishing the last couple chapters talking about the streets and urban ministry, and just these different guys, and guys dying and walking with guys as they die of HIV, and just different things, and some guys getting off the streets. And I finish a chapter and I'm stretching, I'm thinking, I think I'll go for a sail. I go down the lake and go sailing, and I'm sitting out there on this lake and just thinking, this is really weird. My head is in two different places. But it's life is an interesting series of twists. So I want to read you a short story from the book, and I also want to encourage you to, a couple things. Read the book, please. That would be really nice if you did. I want to tell the purpose of this book too. One of the counsel that I got from different editors along the way, the book really did start out to be describing the work of Emmaus Ministries, which is obviously a mission that we care for deeply. And yet, as it developed, I really got challenged to broaden that. there's a very small sliver of Christendom that's going to be called to minister to men involved in prostitution. Very small group, and we have a great ministry for those who are called to that mission. But all of us have a mission. No matter who we are, no matter our context of life, God, whether we are in sickness, whether we are in health, whether we are depressed, whether we are filled with joy, we are on mission for God. And as I wrote the book, I really wanted to focus on encouraging people, whatever their calling, priesthood, single life, Catholic, Protestant, whoever, whatever your calling, to deepen that missional life that you have. Because this world is incredible challenges that we face as believers. And living that missional life, living justly in this world, showing people mercy, walking humbly with God. The book uses that Micah 6:8 passage. What is it, oh man, that the Lord asks of you? Only this, that you live justly, show mercy, walk humbly with God. It uses the stories of men involved in prostitution in that passage to really encourage people to live a missional life, no matter your state in life. So I encourage you, whatever your calling, whatever your passions, I think you'll get something from this book.